Women's and gender studies is a pretty broad field.
It's an interdisciplinary area of study.
Is basically a transnational movement for educational change.
Women and gender studies it's a lot of things.
So it's not just that we study women, but women also become the source of knowledge.
Not everybody knows that there is a major for women in gender studies.
And then I found out through a little research online that you could go to school for this.
I got to take classes like the history of women's reproductive health,
Science fiction, family values.
veiling in the Muslim world.
I just took a class with Dr. Joy James called Inventing the Sexual Savage.
You can study almost anything and study it from a gendered perspective.
English, sociology, history.
Issues of race, of sexuality, of nationality, of class, ability.
And occupational values and goals and equality and stereotyping and gender bullying.
I found out that when I was applying that the program is interdisciplinary, so I didn't have any idea what that meant.
It means that you are not confined within one particular methodology. For example, if you were in English, you would study English literature with the training that goes with that particular discipline. Our object of study is actually more complicated than simply saying a body of literature.
You can choose all the good things from every program and combine them into one.
The courses, the research, and the program itself can take advantage of many different research methodologies, many different ways of studying the world and what happens in the world, from very quantitative information, statistics, and very qualitative information, ethnographic information, and explores differences in our perception and differences in the reality between the work life, for instance, of women and of men and of other genders as well.
There's a focus on, masculinity and the role it plays in our society, and gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual issues and challenges, and all of the different ways that we could be nicer to each other and more understanding of each other and better people if we had a better understanding.
Our object of study is gender and the role of gender in constructing the individual and the role of gender in constructing a certain kind of society.
Instead of being objective, science, literature, history, political science, theater, and dance are all shaped by who created them, where they were created. And as a result, those disciplines have a history of excluding marginalized groups, including women.
We know that women have joined the workforce at very high rates. They now work as often as men do in the workforce. But they do different jobs. There is a high level of gender segregation in the workforce.
You begin to notice things in your own environment that you hadn't considered before.
I didn't know so much before I actually got here, other than stereotypes that are presented through the media or that are passed down even through family.
Women's and gender studies really attends to the diversity within the identity of women, right? So it challenges this concept that there's only one kind of woman. So what happened within the women's and gender studies movement in connection with social movements at the time, including the Black Power movement, Asian Power movement, the Chicana movement, was this move to really shift those narratives and imagine what it would mean to really take into account the writings, the histories, the examination, the scientific developments, the geographical, the spatial histories of marginalized people. So we really take those into account, and that's why the history of women's and gender studies is really exciting.
The program has been here at the University of Texas for about 30 years.
In 1979, a group of female faculty decided that we need women's studies courses at the University of Texas at Austin. And they really had to, work hard to get a few courses established. Fast forward to 2001, It's a center for women's and gender studies. That means we have faculty from all over the campus, from liberal arts, from College of Communications, social work, natural sciences, and they, teach classes that are relevant to women and gender issues. Then in 2001, we were approved to start a master's program.
I was a member of the first Women's and Gender Studies master's cohort, which was a pretty exciting time to be in the program because we were in a lot of ways guinea pigs, and in a lot of ways we became an incredibly tight-knit group.
And then in 2007, our bachelor's program was approved by the state. So we finally have an undergraduate program here at UT.
That the fact that we are now located in the main building of the Liberal Arts College, right next to the tower, which is the main building on campus, after 30 years of, as it were, wandering in the wilderness, being marginalized on the edges of campus, this to me indicates just how far we have come.
At UT, I found probably the best program in Texas.
It blew my mind because a lot of what I had felt, I finally was able to put into words.
If you want to understand about what poverty is, what politics are, what race is, what gender is, Women's and Gender Studies is the perfect program to do that because it brings just everything together.
It's just a really fun thing to do. You learn a lot. You learn a lot about other cultures, about other people, about other individuals. And you learn a lot of ethics, which I think it's one of the best things, and I think a lot of other majors don't offer that.
So it's a rich field that can take advantage of all these different methodologies to study the world we're in. That's really what it's all about.